Hello and welcome to another episode of Naughty Nerds. You might be joining me on Spotify, your favorite podcasting platform, or now YouTube. So you can see my wonderful face, cleanly shaven and looking radiant as ever because I'm not ill anymore. However, Jake is now ill. He has tonsillitis. His tonsils look like Mr. Blobby and he has a water infection. So at Nautilus Towers at Nerd HQ, we are plodding on with business as usual with poor Jakey boy currently in bed feeling sorry for himself. But anyway, in this week's episode, I wanted to answer a really frequently asked question, which is how much does a website cost? And what are the ongoing costs that you might not know about and might not expect? So, with websites, there are three costs. Those costs are going to be split into monthly, yearly, as well as a one time cost if you choose for a web designer or developer to build your website. The first cost is going to be your domain name. So this could be I love Tom or ilovenerds.com. And that is going to be a yearly subscription that you pay to either ourselves, to a domain registrar such as Namecheap, 123reg, GoDaddy. And that could be anything from maybe £5 to sometimes a couple of £100 a year or thousands depending on your websites. That's a really important cost to factor in when you're thinking about building a website. The second cost associated to that would be your website hosting. Now, if you're using a platform such as Wix, a Squarespace, Webflow, you will have direct packages with those website building companies directly. So that means you can't use your own host. Whereas with WordPress, you can use your own hosting provider, such as ourselves, because obviously we are the best website host provider. But you can also use third parties as well, such as FastHost, Bluehost. There's loads of different ones out there with loads of different packages and price points. So those are, I guess, the ongoing costs associated to your website. You might also have things such as backups. You might have things such as SSLs, the little padlock security, as well as other things like malware detection, cybersecurity, emails, that kind of thing. But talking strictly about the website, those are the two main ongoing costs that you are going to need to consider. And as I mentioned in previous episodes about website hosting, make sure you choose a really good, reliable provider that is going to provide everything that you need out of them. For example, with us, we include daily backups as standard, as well as malware detection, which is really important for WordPress, where if your website ever does get infected with malware, we remove it for you, included within your yearly hosting cost. Now, getting to the juicy bits. Every website will have a different cost associated to build it. Now, that could be from an e-commerce website all the way through to a brochure website, which is what the majority of websites are that we build. We do build e-commerce as well as custom websites too, but the majority are brochure websites. So it could be for a care home, it could be for a kitboxing club, it could be for a marketing agency, it could be for a copywriter. We build loads of different websites using different technologies, and they all cost different amounts of money. Now, you can go onto websites such as Platform, Fiverr, People Per Hour, where you can probably spend $100 to get a website. Obviously, it's not going to be the best, but if you are on a very small budget, those companies and freelancers might be able to help. But if you want sort of a good, reliable solution, how we structure our website design is three different ways. You have theme websites with Wix, which are a really good, affordable option for startups. You then have WordPress themes, which are sort of the next level up. And then sort of the creme de la creme, chef's kiss would be a WordPress custom website. Now, a WordPress custom website is what it says on the tin. It is a completely custom and bespoke website that we would be creating for you. Each page is designed from scratch. Now, when it comes down to how much does a website cost, of course, you have those really important monthly and yearly costs. Some hosts charge monthly for hosting, others charge yearly, as well as your domain name too. But you've got the one-time cost to build the website if you wanted a developer to build it for you. Now, that could range with ourselves from £1,000 for a basic Wix website all the way through to £10,000 to £20,000 for a custom site. It really depends on the number of pages and the functionality of the website. So if you are speaking to different website development agencies, the first question that they're going to ask is how many pages is the website? Now, normally on calls, I go through the website with the client in terms of what they want to achieve with that. So whether that be how many pages that they want it to have functionality, and we discuss all of those. I can give a rough ballpark on the phone with them. And then I'll send a proposal if I need to chat with our developers for any specific questions on functionality. Because I would love to say it, but I'm not a developer. I don't build websites. I simply sell them. But I have a very good understanding of websites and how they work. But when it comes down to the time involved in adding certain functionalities and functions, it's really important that we seek advice from our dev team in terms of how long this is actually going to take, which is super important, which not a lot of people consider when they are waiting for a proposal from us. Now, as I said, those costs are going to vary massively. So before you maybe start having those calls with your agencies, have a sort of write down on a piece of paper the amount of pages that you need on that website. For example, there's going to be a cost difference between 5 to 10 pages. Some agencies charge £85 a page, some charge £100, some charge £200, or they have basic packages where you can then add the pages on. We do things a little bit different, and sort of each quote that we do is bespoke to our clients' requirements. For example, some clients might want to add email marketing, so they might want to add like MailChimp, etc., onto their package, which is really important. Or they might want a calculator or integrate a calendar. There's loads of different functionalities to sort of bear in mind on how much it would cost. But be prepared to spend anything from £1,000 to maybe typically between 3 to 4,000. It really, really does depend. For example, you might only want a one-page website scrolling down, and you could do that on WordPress really easily. And of course, it's not going to cost you as much as it would for a full-blown website. So I hope that helps. In the most frequently asked question that I think I ever get is how much does a website actually cost? Of course, each year with inflation, cost of living, etc., they might go up or down. But at this point in 2023, those are probably the rough prices that you're going to spend. Every agency will charge different amounts. Someone I spoke to recently, where we quoted a very fair price for a website. I think it was £1,300. They said that they could get it with a logo and content writing for $450, which is around about £375. I always love those situations because I say, "Oh, great, can you pass me their number?" Because we can definitely give them some work. As a joke, of course. I find it funny. I have a very interesting sense of humor, as you probably know by now, if you watch this or listen to this podcast for a while. But yeah, I hope this answers probably one of the most frequently asked questions that I ever have as owning a digital marketing agency. If you have any questions or any topics that you would like me to discuss, leave a comment on one of our YouTube videos or head over to naughtynerds.com. They can fill out the form on there, and I will have add it to my list of ever growing content ideas. And you will guess it, you dear listeners, dear watchers, what I actually use to track all the episodes in terms of content ideas. It's not going to be anything other than Monday.com, which literally rules my life, my agency, and now this podcast, which is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully, you've enjoyed this week's episode, this week's video. If you have, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, the usual on your favorite podcasting platform or even on YouTube. Love to hear from you. Have a wonderful afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. Stay awesome, stay safe, but most importantly, stay nerdy.